We aim to supplant and replace the Liberal Democrats, and we will be the third biggest party in British politics. That is the task ahead of us.
Something else. Opinion polls, as you will know, are suggesting quite a rise in support for UKIP, the UK Independence Party. They got nearly to 10% in one poll earlier this year, over 9. In that one, they outperformed the Liberal Democrats. And of course, there's quite a significant effect, particularly on the Conservatives, but Labour too, in terms of thinking of their strategy. Our chief political correspondent, Ben Wright, has been to talk to some former Conservatives who are now in UKIP at a conference they were having, and it's called, significantly enough, The Next Big Step.
Lakeside, here in Surrey, is the home of the World Darts Championship. And that's what UKIP have been playing, with David Cameron's picture pinned to the board. To good effect, judging by the number of former Conservative activists to be found here in their new political home.
Nigel Farage and UKIP stand for everything that I believe in. I think there's far too much something for nothing in our society. I don't think it's just about Europe.
They're in this coalition with the limp digits and the little boy Clegg, right, who seems to be the tail wagging the dog. I've had enough of that.
People are stubbing out their cigarettes. We should go back inside to watch Mr Farage's speech.
Do you remember what they used to call us? Eccentrics, cranks, gadflies. My particular favourite, fruitcakes.
The speeches here celebrate grammar schools, small businesses and strivers. The enemies include Europe, immigration, elitism, the BBC and the main political parties.
So many of the things that UKIP's talked about over the last decade are now being seen by the British public to be true.
And you can see why. With the Eurozone in crisis and the Conservatives in coalition, UKIP thinks its time has come. Which is odd, considering Europe consistently ranks low down on the list of issues voters care about. But many Conservatives do, and the party is looking nervously at UKIP in its rearview mirror. David Cameron is trying to placate Eurosceptics in his party with woolly suggestions of a referendum at some point on some question. I went to see Linton Crosby. He ran the Tories' general election campaign in 2005 and masterminded Boris Johnson's re-election in London this year.
People in Britain are frustrated by the behaviour of Europe and the challenges that it's created in terms of Britain's own circumstance. I think that Labour will endeavour to manipulate the issue by offering a referendum, and that will obviously cause the government to have to think about how it responds.
Do you think it would be a smart thing for them to beat Labour in offering a referendum to the public?
If I was confident Labour were going to do it, I'd want to get there first.
The question really is, does David Cameron want to be more than a one-term Prime Minister? If so, he's going to have to deal with UKIP.
The Conservative MP from Kent, Mark Reckless, thinks it's an urgent priority.
I think that the rise of UKIP and the threat from UKIP is one of the things that is pushing my party, the Conservative Party, into making the argument for a referendum on national independence. And we need to get those people from UKIP behind the Conservative Party if we can get a majority and actually deliver that referendum.
UKIP doesn't just want to pick up disaffected Tories. It's targeting Labour supporters who felt abandoned by the party of Tony Blair. That's perhaps why Ed Miliband has recently chosen to speak about immigration and Englishness. The Shadow Minister, Hilary Benn, says his party must address people's concerns about Europe too.
I do think that our relationship with Europe is a big political question, and it's right that it's something that we should be talking about and debating, because in the end I think it will strengthen our role in Europe and our continued membership and the opportunities that gives Britain as a country. But an in-out referendum, no, the people who should argue for that are those who actually believe that we should come out.
UKIP thinks it could come first in the next European elections, but they're not held until 2014. Until then, Nigel Farage is trying to charm disaffected Tories into his party, including, it's rumoured, some MPs.
I think a lot depends on the boundary changes. Whether they happen or not will make a big difference as to whether MPs do come to UKIP or not. And the other thing is, we need to keep increasing our share in the opinion polls. And the more credible we look, the more likely it becomes. And I think on the current trajectory, I do believe that MPs will cross the floor, yes.
Are you talking to them?
Of course.
Names?
Not right now.
Ken Wright reporting. The time 24 minutes past 7. Let's turn to the business.
We aim to supplant and replace the Liberal Democrats, and we will be the third biggest party in British politics. That is the task.